Egotastic FunTime. Hey gang, I'm JP and welcome back to Talking The Orville on Egotastic FunTime. Today we're going to have a great time checking back in on something I brought up a few months ago. Does Star Trek exist in the Orville universe? Though I provided numerous examples to support my theory that Trek does exist in the same universe as Captain Ed Mercer and the rest of the crew in the 25th century as a TV show, my most credible and damning evidence to support my theory, in fact, came from a show, Much Ado About Nothing.
Spock dies, they wrap him up in a towel, and they shoot him out the bowels of the ship in that big sunglasses case.
It was a hell of a thing when Spock died.
Yeah.
Back in April, I told you guys that I thought Star Trek exists as a 20th century television show in the Orville universe because Seinfeld exists in the Orville universe and Star Trek exists in the Seinfeld universe. Therefore, vis-a-vis carry the science to the second power, Star Trek exists in the Orville universe as well. That's like 3 universes, you guys! And once I came out with that episode, I uploaded it, we all talked about it, we had a good old time, and I pretty much forgot about it after that. I moved on to bigger and better Orville news because that's what I do. But then, lo and behold, last month at the San Diego Comic-Con, the idea was suddenly brought up again at the Orville panel to Seth MacFarlane himself by Chella, an Orville superfan who was dressed as Chilean security officer Alara Catan. Here's the question in question.
My question is, we've seen that the characters on the Orville have watched Seinfeld. So if Seinfeld exists in the Orville, and they've made references to Star Trek on Seinfeld, does that mean that the Star Trek TV series exists?
Somebody please escort her.
What? Is it possible that she saw the episode of my stupid show and decided to bring it up to Seth at the Comic-Con if the opportunity arose? I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean, how could my small yet amazing YouTube channel get my Seinfeld/Trek theory about the Orville to Seth MacFarlane himself? I mean, it's ridiculous to even consider, except, oh wait, that's exactly what happened. I've recently been in contact with Chella's dad, and he told me they saw my episode and thought it would make for a great question during the panel, and I have to say, I agree, it's an amazing question for the panel. Thank you guys so much for doing that. I mean, I never thought in a million years that we'd get any kind of response to my theory, especially not from Seth MacFarlane himself. That's amazing. Here's what the captain had to say when asked about Star Trek existing in the Orville universe.
Does that mean that the Star Trek TV series exists?
Somebody please escort this woman. We want the skull back. It's a
dilly.
It's a very good question, and it's one I thought about when we were writing episode 3 when Claire says, "I'll be your Obi-Wan," and I don't think there's any way to answer that would be satisfying to anybody.
That's why I asked it.
Seth said there's no way to answer that in a fashion that will satisfy anyone, but that in itself is pretty satisfying because by kind of dodging the question like he did and the rest of the cast cheering and going nuts, I mean, look at Peter Macon, he's going nuts! The cast seemed to really like that question, so they've probably talked about this as a cast and decided to just drop it or been advised to drop it because it opens up a whole can of worms if they claim Star Trek exists in any way, shape, or form on their show. They're basically saying, at least in context to their show's universe, that Star Trek was just a TV show and the Orville is the real deal, which I'm sure they don't want to do because unlike another sci-fi show that I could mention on a network that I also won't mention, CBS, the people who make the Orville actually are fans of Star Trek. Hashtag boom. Hashtag yeah, I said it. Hashtag what you gonna do. But really, they probably don't want to mention Star Trek on the Orville because who knows what legal issues might arise from that. Another thing Seth mentioned in his response is when Dr. Finn referred to herself as Alara's Obi-Wan in the episode command performance, which is something I also brought up in my episode. So even though he didn't say one way or another, I'm pretty confident that I was right. Not Not that it really matters though. The Orville, though feels familiar, really is doing its own thing in its own way. Now, as happy as I am that Seth provided a response to the Star Trek Seinfeld Orville connection question, yeah, it's nothing compared to how happy I was to see what happened at the Comic-Con panel before the question was even asked. You guys remember in the Orville Season 2 trailer that quick flash of scenes and there was like a pile of bones that Tala and Bortus came across? We don't know what that pile of bones means or anything like that, but check out what happened at the panel.
Look!
Hey!
Yeah! All right!
The missing number.
Somebody is dressed as one of our characters.
Well,
Have there been people dressed as Orville characters that we haven't been out on the...
not a lot.
Yeah, a couple.
We got a prize for you for the first part. After your, you get one of these skulls signed by the panel. These skulls are set dressing for an episode in second season. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but the panel signed them, and first person showing up in a costume got them. Actually, the original plan was we were going to get the first person who asked, what are those skulls on the table, but nobody asked.
John Cassar gave Chella a signed skull prop from that episode in Season 2, and to me, that's even more betterer than getting an answer to my stupid theory. With all the work put into such an awesome Alara cosplay costume, fit with ear and facial appliances, I'm so glad the cast and crew of the Orville thought it worthy to reward such a dedicated fan of their show. So thanks again to Chella and her family for letting the rest of us in on their Comic-Con experience. Oh, and by the way, if Chella's mom looks familiar to you guys and you don't know why, pay close attention. She's cosplaying as Kelly from the Majority Rule episode. You guys are just so cool. You're the coolest family ever. And that leaves me with one very important favor I would like to ask of Chella's family, because it needs to be said, and it needs to be said by me specifically. Can you guys adopt me? I'm house trained, I've had all my shots, and I know the entire secret menu at In-N-Out Burger by heart. Did I take my blood pressure medicine today? Ooh, I've eaten a lot of meat and cheese. I better go do that. Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today, and I talked about it. How about you? What do you think about Seth's response when asked if Star Trek exists in the Orville universe, because Seinfeld exists there too? What do you think that big pile of bones is about coming up in Season 2? Do you think they belong to the Krill, or maybe some other alien race we haven't even been introduced to yet? You can let me know what you think by joining the conversation below. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my stupid show. It really does mean the world to me, you guys. I'll see you very soon, and as always, I hope all your times are egotastic fun times. Love you, bye-bye.
Egotastic fun time, we're gonna have a great time. Egotastic fun time, give me all your money. Give him all your money. You will find it funny. Just give me money. I love money. Give me all your 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 money.